This morning, I was looking at some of the things you've been working on. I just wanted to refresh myself, and I found the most amazing thing that I don't know how I didn't know it existed, which was your Rudy KFC commercial. Does everybody know about this?
It was.
My mind exploded.
So it's Rudy, and his dream after playing for Notre Dame is he wants to become the colonel. And so it's this montage of him like the mustache and the thing and like the glasses and practicing this. It's finger licking good. It's finger licking good. It's finger licking good. And then he comes running out onto the field when the players lift him up and he's got like the bucket of chicken. It's hilarious.
By far the best KFC commercial I've ever seen.
Well, there's like 9 colonels, actors who've been play. So I feel like I'm part of I keep waiting for the call where there'll be like all 9 of us on a stage somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just look at the other ones and you're like, yeah, you were a good colonel, I guess. That's good.
But did you
Never once thought I'd feel competitive about that particular thing. What?
But did you run out on the football field? Because you're the only one who did that. So.
Well, like George Hamilton, he's always like coming out of the water with like oil on his body and stuff. Anyhow, yeah.
So look it up, just fun.
I called my lawyer and he was like, are we gonna go there? And I was like, yeah, why not? It's like, are you a vegan? I'm like, well. That vegan. Actually, they have Kentucky Fried Chicken has like vegan options now. They're like exploring vegan options.
Really?
Who just said that? There you go.
That's
what I told my vegetarian daughters when I was doing it. I said, well, guys, we want to encourage them to go in that direction. Nuggets. They came and they made fried chicken, on the set. Like brought the whole fryer and did that whole thing. Oh, I'm sorry. That's pretty good.
Wasn't vegan after that.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Let's go. Come on.
You have questions? Okay.
Just wanted to ask. I mean, working with major motion pictures, and then going back to Bob and TV, through Stranger Things, love doing that. Which at this point in time would you rather prefer to do? Like more feature films or more TV type stuff?
I think it's a really good question. Thank you for the compliment. I wonder what's happening right now. I feel like the last 10 years was the golden age of these kind of 8-episode season shows where you could really live in the world of the show. Way more than a movie. A movie at 90 minutes, 2 hours, you're like, oh, wow, I would have loved to be with Dr. Strange for another, 5 episodes, and go like this. So from an actor's perspective, a character perspective, the TV world, I don't even know if it's TV anymore because it's shot cinematically, but it's destined for a streaming locale. That kind of narrative, the in-depth narrative storytelling is pretty great. But it's been a while since I did a nice silver screen, larger than life, hero thing where you step into your close-up, So, but I'm an actor, so if you're hiring,
Thank you. Let's go over to the right. Who's next? Okay, there you
Hey, brother.
Yo.
Thanks for being here. You've been in a lot of stuff that I've really enjoyed. Stranger Things, Rudy, etc., etc. This is a Lord of the Rings question, specifically. So let's pretend that Lord of the Rings didn't exist until now, the movie franchise. If you were approached with the script now, being older than you were, what character would you be interested in playing and why? And it can't be Sam.
And it can't be Sam. That was brutal. You finished up strong, and it can't be Sam.
No Sam.
Oof. That's kind of a cool concept. The Hobbits are, aren't they 50 years old? Isn't Bilbo they're... So I'm 51 now. So I feel like in terms of the look of us, we could still, I could play one of the Hobbits. Proud feet. So I honestly don't think I could at this stage, unless I was to, if they hired a really good trainer and a chef and, spent 6 months trying to
No KFC.
put it back, no KFC, trying to put it back together, could I pull off Aragorn? I don't think so. When my agent and the casting director sent, were like, we want you to come in and audition for Sam. They were like, Samwise Gamgee, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what's Lord of the Rings? And they're like, The Hobbit. I'm like, Phantom Tollbooth? I'm like, no, The Hobbit. So I'm like, okay. So I speed read the first 150 pages of the Fellowship. And I'm like, well, Aragorn is like swashbuckling sword, interesting, brooding guy. And I said to my agent, I was like, is there a chance I could go for that? And she was like, no. No, there's not a chance you can go for that. I'm like, okay, I will go for that. Soon, I'll be ready to play Gimli. Soon, I can feel my body moving, Up the beard! Yeah, so, and my wife, I think she thinks I'm ready to play an orc, but I'm really friendly still. Come on. I'm at that age where you're like, what kind of old guy am I going to be? Am I going to be the complaining kind, or am I going to be like, no, it's a great day to be alive, Like, both? But it's a great thought, and I look towards the new Lord of the Rings franchise, which is about to, is it Power of the Ring? Yeah, the Power of the Ring, and I saw the extended teaser, or trailer for it, and it just looks like, you knew they were going to get it right. How could they go 20 years and blow it? Like, there's no way they're going to blow it. So, but it's qualitatively, tonally different than Lord of the Rings. And I feel like, where I thought you were going with that question was like, if you made it today, like what would be different about the franchise, the trilogy? And you remember, that was like green screen, sophisticated, interactive green screen. I guess Roger Rabbit had done it, but it hadn't been done by like major studio at a high level. I don't think. Nothing's occurring to me as like kind of a watermark moment. But Gollum, that was brand new. And they kept the miniatures. They made miniatures, and I remember watching like the Star Wars making of, and George Lucas had like the miniatures of the Death Star and those fighter pilot planes, and I'm like 10 years old, and I'm like, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to make models like that, and I want to like blow them up, and that just looked like the coolest thing. And then we get to New Zealand, and they have what they termed bigatures, as opposed to miniatures, bigatures, and it was in a warehouse like this. And they were massive. You have to get on an elevator. You have to get on a ladder to climb up, 4 or 5, like 30 feet in the air. And at every level, like at Minas Tirith, or every level of the caves of Barad-dûr? No, the caves of, what's it called? Moria, thank you. Mines of Moria. Was that Yoda right there? Did I just Yoda out? Wow. If you don't let me play Sam, I'm going to be watching it on television with you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what's happening. But anyhow, at every level that you would, you'd get to the next rung of the ladder, and you'd be like, every little detail was perfect. The buckets in the pulleys, and the swords that were laying down from the fight, and you just like, that was, and they had a miniatures unit, film crew filming miniatures for 1.5 years. And it was just like, they don't do that anymore. So, and CG stuff is incredible. It's incredible. But it's not the same. It's not the same. And it was film. It was film. They ran like 1 million feet of celluloid. I played Sam, Fat Hobbit. 1 million feet of cellulose. Deep vein thrombosis. No, but anyhow, so, it was film that would have to go through the process in the bath, and it just looks different. I don't care how similar the digital stuff looks, it looks a little bit different. And Peter, at that point, as a purist, like he wasn't ready to make the jump to Lightspeed with digital yet until the end of the third film of pickup shooting, we go back, you know, after the second one came out, we go back and film a little bit more to get all the little bits and pieces that they wanted for this sequence or that close-up that was missing or something like that. And we go, and then Panavision sent the digital cameras and they had them side by side on the set. And Peter would look at them, the dailies, at, you know, at night, and he'd be like, okay, like, yeah, I can't tell the difference. But I felt like it was on film. It was on film. The close-ups of the actors, intercut with the aerial footage, intercut with the miniatures, intercut with the, like, you just, you know, it was new. It was new. It was important in the history of cinema. It was a meaningful new benchmark in movies. Like now, all of these incredible franchises exist. You know, the Marvel franchise and all of them, even Star Trek and Star Wars and everything else, they now have, those are like industries. Each franchise is an industry where the casts get hired and they're on the payroll for 18 months, and that's kind of like, it's understood now. It's a process that people are familiar with. When we did Lord of the Rings, that was new. That was hard. We were breaking new ground. So I will always be proud of having lived in a moment and been lucky enough to be cast at that moment where I was a part of something that was unique and special. And, you know, when it won its Best Picture award for Return of the King, I was like, you know, it's locked in. Something about movie, because my parents are famous actors, my mom won an Academy Award when she was a little girl for Helen Keller, my sense of like film history, which is only 100 years old, right? I mean, so is romantic. It's a romantic relationship I have with the idea of cinema and the different epochs of cinema, and I was a part of one of the like awesome ones, so it feels really good. Yeah.